The forbidden friendship in a distant corner of the galaxy, where stars burned bright and ancient empires ruled over thousands of worlds, one alien officer stood silently on the balcony of her ship, staring into the endless void of space. Commander. Syria knew that what she was about to do would break every rule of the Galactic Council, and yet her heart refused to obey fear. For the first time in her life, she had encountered something the Council had never taught her to understand: kindness. Kindness from a human. Commander Syria of the Valnary species was no ordinary officer. She was the youngest ever to serve on the Council's inner guard, a powerful force created to watch over all civilizations and eliminate any species that threatened the balance of power. For years, that threat had one name whispered in every dark meeting hall: humanity. The humans had not joined the Galactic Council. They had never asked for help from other worlds. Instead, they carved their own path among the stars, powerful, independent, and unpredictable. Because of that, the Council feared them long before they understood them. Syria had grown up on stories of how dangerous humans were: emotional, violent, unstable. One day, they said, humanity would become a storm that could burn galaxies down, and yet, during a covert mission on the edge of Sector X-57, her ship was crippled by an asteroid field. Facing certain death, Syria and her crew were saved, not by Council forces, but by a human vessel. A voice crackled through her comms, calm and steady. "We're not your enemy. Let us help." She remembered the moment vividly, alarms blaring, power failing, crew panicking, and then that voice. She watched their ship approach, smaller, scarred, but strong. They docked without hesitation, sent tools, supplies, and engineers. That moment shattered the fear the Council had spent a lifetime building inside her. After that, she remained in secret contact with the human captain, Elias Ward. He never tried to recruit her, never asked her to betray her people. He simply spoke with honesty, respect, and something Syria had never known among her own kind: sincerity. Their conversations continued for weeks, hidden, quiet, and with each exchange, Syria learned more about Earth, about human courage, and about their relentless drive to survive against impossible odds. But the galaxy is never blind. The Council's spies are everywhere. One day, while returning from a patrol near a restricted zone, her ship's transmission logs were flagged at a checkpoint. She deleted most of the records just in time. But one name remained: Elias Ward. That night, she was summoned to the High Room of Judgment aboard the Council's fortress, orbiting the twin suns of Drawn Prime. 12 figures, older than most stars, stared down at her like executioners already certain of her guilt. They questioned her coldly, each word sharp and calculated. It wasn't just about what she'd done. It was about what they feared she might do. When she left the chamber, her hands trembled. That's when she understood the truth. The Council wasn't protecting the galaxy from war. They were protecting their power. And humanity threatened that power more than any enemy ever had. As her ship departed Drawn Prime, Syria stared at the stars and made a decision that could cost her everything. She would not cut ties with Elias Ward. In fact, she would meet him in person, because now she believed something dangerous, something the Council would never accept: that humans, far from the monsters they were painted to be, might be the only allies worth trusting in a galaxy built on lies. She sent a coded message to the hidden human fleet near a dead moon, requesting a private meeting. She didn't know it yet, but that decision would soon shake the balance of power, ignite panic across the most secure Council halls, and begin a chain reaction that no empire could ignore. Because one alien had broken the rules and befriended the most feared species in the stars. Alone in her private quarters, far from the eyes of the Council, Commander Saria stared at the communicator in her hand. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just disobedience anymore. This was treason. And the penalty would not be exile. It could be death. She had spent her entire life inside the walls of the Galactic Order, trained to obey, taught never to question, raised to believe loyalty to the Council outweighed truth, justice, even her own soul. But all of that had changed. The day the humans saved her. The signal would take hours to reach Elias Ward, the human captain who had become more than a contact. He had become her closest friend, the only being in the galaxy who treated her like a person, not a weapon. Outside, the stars shimmered. Her ship drifted through the shadow of a forgotten planet, its systems cloaked, its engines cold. She had falsified her route, lied in her patrol report, broken the first rule, never deceived the Council. And now, she waited for the second rule to shatter. If the humans responded, if they agreed to meet, then nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Then came the alert, incoming signal. Her breath caught. It was them. Location confirmed. We're on our way. Elias. For a moment, fear threatened to take hold. What if this was a trap? What if the Council had intercepted her signal and forged a response? But then she remembered Elias's face during that first call, filled with concern, not calculation. With sincerity, not power. She quickly set the coordinates. A forgotten moon once used for mining, now abandoned. The perfect place for secrets to be born. Her ship, Valerary Spirit, cloaked its signal and drifted into silence. 2 hours passed. Then 3. From the dust, a shadow emerged. A human vessel, dark, scarred, alive with quiet strength. Docking procedures engaged. The airlock hissed. Saria stepped forward, her pulse pounding. Elias Ward stood on the other side. Tall, calm, steady. No medals, no banners. Just a plain uniform and a quiet confidence. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said, offering a hand. She stared at it. Then slowly she reached out and shook it. A human gesture she had practiced, in secret, unsure when she'd ever use it. "I wasn't sure you'd still trust me," she replied. "I always did." In that moment, Saria felt something she hadn't felt in years. Safe. They moved to the ship's meeting room. For an hour, they exchanged maps, stories, truths. Saria spoke of hidden council meetings, of whispered plans to isolate Earth before it grew too powerful. Elias listened, tension in his shoulders, but silent. When she finished, he stood and looked out at the stars. "If what you're saying is true," he said, "then war isn't just coming. It's already here. And your people are just hoping we don't realize it in time." Saria nodded slowly. "But now I see it," she whispered. Then her wrist device beeped sharply. Warning, traced signal. Her location was compromised. The Council was coming. She and Elias locked eyes. "We don't have much time," she said. "Then let's move," Elias answered. "If the galaxy wants fear, let's give them a reason to be afraid." Outside, the stars burned brighter than usual, as if the galaxy itself sensed something terrible was on the horizon. Inside the human ship, Commander Saria watched as red lights flashed across her console. She tapped commands rapidly. The screen, filled with glowing dots. Council frigates, fast, silent, and closing in. "They must have placed a tracker on my ship," she whispered. "I thought I was careful." "The Council doesn't forgive betrayal, do they?" Elias asked. "No," she said quietly. "They don't forgive, and they never forget." The Council ships cut through the asteroid field like hunters. Outside, escape paths vanished. Inside, the pressure mounted. "We can't fight them directly," Elias said, and as the final lights on the map drew closer, Saria knew. There was no turning back. only forward, together. "We're outgunned," Elias said. "But we can't run either," Saria replied, stepping closer to the display. "The gravity around this moon's unstable. Push the engines too hard and we crash. Stay here and they'll board us." The human crew moved quickly, powering down non-essentials, dimming the lights, cutting all external transmissions. They were trying to vanish into the asteroid dust. Elias glanced at her. "What do they want more, Saria? You or us?" "They want silence," she said, voice low. "They want control. They fear what this meeting means. That I, a council commander, chose to speak with humans. That I trust you more than I trust them." "Then let's give them something they can't control," Elias said. "Let's divide their attention." He activated a holographic beacon on the far side of the moon, a decoy pulse mimicking their ship's exact signature. It was an old trick from the border wars, where guile often mattered more than guns. Moments later, one of the council ships split off and angled toward the false signal, but 3 remained. Still too many. Then came the unexpected. A hail. The council's voice, flat and sharp. "This is High Commander Varric of the Galactic Council. You are ordered to stand down. The Valerary traitor aboard must be returned. Resistance will be treated as a declaration of war." Saria went rigid. Varric. He had trained her, once called her his finest student. Now he wanted her destroyed. Elias leaned in. "You don't have to answer that. We don't take orders from people who hunt their own." But Saria stepped forward, voice steady. "This is Commander Saria of the Valner," she said into the open channel. "I have not betrayed the Council. I've seen the truth. The humans are not the enemy." "You are!" Silence followed. Then Varric returned, voice cold as space. "You've made your choice. Prepare to face the consequences." The trap was sprung. The Council ships advanced. Elias barked, "Reverse boosters! Now! Stay high behind the moon! Prep decoys!" The crew leapt into motion. Small pods launched in every direction, emitting randomized light bursts and thermal signatures, a storm of false targets, confusing enemy scanners. That moment of hesitation was all they needed. The human ship twisted sharply, ducking behind. Jagged moon rock just as plasma fire seared past, missing by inches and slamming into stone. Inside, the ship trembled. Saria grabbed a rail. "We won't last long. Tricks won't save us. They're faster." Elias gave her a look, not defeat, but certainty. "Then it's a good thing," he said quietly. "We're not alone anymore." She frowned. "What do you mean?" Before he could speak, an alert blinked on the screen. Incoming ships, 3 of them, fast. Human ID signatures, and leading the group, the Earth-class Stormbreaker. A warship whispered about in enemy halls, known for surviving odds no sane tactician would accept. Saria stared in disbelief. "You called for help?" "No," Elias said. "They came because they believe in something stronger than fear." The silence before battle was heavy, like the galaxy holding its breath. From the moon's shadow, Earth's ships emerged, metal giants glowing under starlight, their hulls gleaming, engines humming low with leashed power, weapons armed. The Council fleet paused, hesitated. They hadn't expected this, and certainly not them. The Stormbreaker fleet, Earth's most disciplined, most brutal warships, formations perfect, retreats unheard of. Saria stepped forward, awe flickering in her eyes. "I know that ship," she whispered. "It destroyed 3 pirate fleets in one night, alone." Elias nodded, calm but ready. "They sent it because they trust us," he said. "They believe this fight matters." A new voice lit up the comms, firm, controlled. "This is Admiral Kell of the Earth warship Stormbreaker. Council vessels, you are in restricted space, under false pretense. Withdraw immediately." No response. Council weapons began to glow. One spark, and war would ignite. Elias turned to her. If anyone can talk them down, it's you. You're still one of them, even if they call you a traitor. Saria clenched her jaw, then nodded. She opened the council channel. This is Commander Saria, she said clearly. You're making a mistake. The humans are not our enemy. Fire today and you'll face Earth. Not just a border world, but its full strength. Varric's voice came back, sharp as a knife. You stand with the enemy. Your words are worthless. Your fate is sealed. All 4 council ships fired. Plasma beams streaked across the void, blue light ripping the dark apart. But Earth's ships didn't flinch. They moved like one, sliding, splitting, shields flaring with energy. And then they struck back. The Stormbreaker fired a main cannon shot, white-hot and massive. It smashed into the nearest council ship. Shields cracked, engines buckled, the vessel spun, spewing flame and shrapnel into open space. Saria stared, breath frozen. She had never witnessed firepower like this, and the battle was just beginning. Elias gripped the controls. They're smaller. Vessel danced through the asteroid field using rocks for cover. Council fighters pursued, but every blast missed, striking stone instead, exploding rock into debris. We need to blind them, Elias said. If they keep tracking us, we're dead. I can disrupt their sensors, Saria said. They still use old council encryption. I was trained in it. Her fingers flew. The ship jolted left. A council fighter followed. Then its screen turned white, static bursting. It veered hard and slammed into an asteroid, erupting in a fireball. That's one, Saria muttered. 30 more seconds. Outside, Earth's fleet surged forward. The Stormbreaker and its sister ships closed in, pinning the enemy in from both flanks. And just like that, the tide turned. The proud council force began to buckle. Admiral Kell's voice boomed again. This is your final warning. You're outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched. Leave or be destroyed. There was a pause. Then, 2 council ships, damaged and burning, peeled off and fled. Only one remained. The flagship, Varric. He would not run. Saria knew why. Pride, hate, and the need to make an example. His ship turned, heading straight for them. He's coming for me, Saria said. No one else. Then we take him together, Elias replied. They spun their ship around, straight into the storm. The stars watched in silence as the 2 vessels, one nimble, one massive, raced toward each other. At the heart of it, 2 warriors once allies, now enemies. Saria, who broke council law to pursue peace. Varric, who saw that as betrayal. The space between them glowed with debris, wreckage, and death. But none of it mattered now. This was no longer about politics. It was personal. Varric's voice sliced through the channel. You should have stayed loyal, Saria. You were the best. You could have led the fleet. I threw away your lies, she said, eyes steady. I saw the truth. The humans don't want war, but if war comes, they won't bow. Not to you. Elias armed the weapons, silent, focused. Varric's ship loomed, armor thick, cannons charged. One good hit and they'd be vapor, but they had something else, speed and a plan. Target his weak spots, Saria said fast. He taught me. He'll try intimidation. Big hits. We need to stay close, strike the rear, keep moving. Their ship dove low, hugging the wreckage of a broken cruiser. Varric fired. Energy blasts lit the void. One passed so close it scorched their hull. Still, Elias didn't slow. He pulled the ship hard between 2 ruined husks, then emerged behind Varric's massive engines. Now! Saria shouted. Elias fired, a hit, clean and direct. Rear shields flared, flickered, then weakened. But Varric struck back. He spun with surprising speed and unleashed a pulse wave. The blast slammed into them. The cockpit shook violently. Warning lights turned red. "We can't take another like that," Elias gasped. "Then we finish it," Saria snapped. She grabbed the manual controls. "Take us in. Too close for his main guns. He's not trained for close combat." Elias didn't argue. He plunged the ship downward, so close to Varric's hull that their ship skimmed its metal skin. Varric turned, trying to dislodge them. The ship groaned under the strain, but Saria had already locked onto the power core's heat signature. Fire. In 3, 2. Now! The blast struck a vulnerable panel beneath layers of armor, and then an explosion from within, a blooming starburst of energy. Varric's ship lurched, power drained, lights dimmed, and in the silence that followed, Saria and Elias sat breathless, watching as the ship that once trained her, humanity refusing to die. The battle was over, but its echo spread far beyond the debris fields and scarred moons. Across the galaxy, across countless species and systems, the name Earth now meant something else. Not weakness, not defiance, but endurance. In the days that followed, treaties were proposed from worlds that had once feared to even speak to human envoys. Small planets, independent factions, even rogue AI collectives, all came forward with the same message. We stand with you on Sol Beacon. The newly formed Galactic Accord Council, a coalition born from former enemies and reluctant allies, gathered in its first official meeting. Saria stood among them, not as a soldier, not even as a representative of a single world, but as a symbol of what had changed. She wore no armor, carried no weapons, only resolve. Admiral Kale addressed the assembly with his usual clarity. "We were forged in fire," he said, "but we did not let that fire consume us. Now we offer our strength not as a threat, but as a promise. Earth will not rule you. Earth will stand with you." There was silence, and then applause. Even from those who once feared the name human. Far from the council halls, in a quiet field on Earth, Captain Roar was buried with honors. His ship's remains were placed in orbit as a monument. On the side, a single line was engraved. One life, one shot, one galaxy saved. As the months passed, whispers of war faded into cautious hope. The council remnants dissolved. The silence hammer became a warning taught in every academy of how power without soul crumbles in the face of unity. But the galaxy did not forget, and neither did Earth. Saria, standing once more on the bridge of the Dauntless, stared into the stars. "They'll come again," she said, echoing the words she'd spoken the day Varric fell. Elias, at her side, nodded. "Let them. This time, they won't face one world. They'll face all of us." And with that, Earth's story entered a new chapter, one not written in conquest but in courage. Not in silence but in the voice of billions, rising together to say, "We are still here.